Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Take a Break with Luke and Dutton and the honorary co-host Todd's Truth. We have a very special guest tonight called Cody. Cody has a great book called Iron. What is it? What's the name of your book, bud?
Jack Irons.
Jack Irons. Man, this thing looks so cool. This character looks so neat. So neat. I saw this the other day and I was like, oh, that's so cool. And then Dutton was like, hey, we've got Cody coming on. I'm like, what's Cody do? He goes, Jack Irons. And I'm like, heck yeah. Heck yeah, we got Jack Irons on, and you know what? I love comics, and so do
comics are awesome.
Comics are awesome. So thank you very much, Keanu, for your input tonight. We are looking forward to learning more about this comic, and let's go ahead and hit the chats here. We got a couple of people. Nefarious is saying, "Yo, let's go!" Yes, let's go. That little intro music gives us enough time to share out the link. Which I forgot to hit tweet, but there you go. That's how it works anyway. And Ferris also says, "Hail at Todd's Truth. Hail Cody. See you tomorrow." Apparently they don't want to see you right now. Apparently Neff does not want to see you right now. He wants to see you tomorrow. So yeah, we've got a few people watching. Please remember to hit that like and subscribe button and tweet it out. Let people know that you're watching tonight. Feel free to ask questions. Cody, do you want to go and share your screen if you got your project pulled up?
Absolutely. Let me go ahead and hit that for you.
I love how we're all like framed like this, and Cody's like hanging out on his couch, like, "What's up, guys?"
Yeah, that's kind of how I do it.
Very welcoming atmosphere.
Yeah, I love it. I'm gonna move Cody to the top so everyone can see Cody. There we go.
Oh, thank you. All right. Now this is the campaign page right here. As it says, what do I want to say?
Did you share your audio by chance?
No, not that I'm aware of. Just the screen.
Oh, okay. All right. I was gonna say you can show your trailer if you wanted to, but.
Oh well, it doesn't show much except for the books, which I'm happy to show live here that we had previously made that were collected in this.
Let's do it that way then. Yeah, let's do it that way.
All right, let me grab those real quick. I'll be right back. Just a second.
Yep. Nick says hi, chat. Nick, it's great to see you in the chats tonight. Pops is also here. What's up, Pops? Good to have you tonight. How was everybody's week? While he's grabbing those, how's everybody doing?
I'm good.
Pretty good.
I just had
Did you read any good books this week?
A little mini pie.
A mini pie, huh? Did you read any good books this week?
Yes, but not any comics.
Not in comics. Not in any comics.
Sometimes I do
crowd.
read the ones where it's all just words.
Yeah, Pops. Yeah. We got Tarks X9 in here. That's Bob. Hello, everyone. Bob, it's good to have you tonight. So excited to have a nice crowd accumulating in the comments and mostly from YouTube tonight.
I haven't read it yet, but I just got this yesterday.
Ooh, let's make that big real fast. Solo.
Look at that awesome box.
Well, that's a box.
Do you like werewolves?
Dang.
I do like
Let me
werewolves.
cover the back here so you can't. There, so I can just show you.
So you don't dox yourself?
Yep.
Dox. Yeah.
But isn't that an awesome
That
box?
is great,
just to
man.
Send it in.
That's friggin' sweet.
Look at that. I mean, that is
Sweet
like
action.
that's the coolest box I've seen anybody ship anything in so far.
Yeah, I'm gonna find
Can't
out
wait
what
to
box
read this.
guy is.
Read it.
Do you have a box guy, Cody?
I do not have a box guy. I should get a box guy. I've been impressed by a lot of that, the Comic America campaign, the iconic comic stuff, and the another fellow who does Aerith, the Kentalon Saga, did it in a giant mixtape. Was the box that was really cool?
That was cool. That mixtape box was sweet. Very sweet.
Yeah, so that was the first experience I had, and I did the unboxing and stuff. And it adds a lot of personality to the exchange, right, with the backers, and a little bit extra, almost respect and enjoyment. And
It really does. I love the packaging. It's like when you buy an Apple product and you open it up, and it's like it's opening the package is part of the experience. You're selling the experience. Doris says she's having a good week so far. Pops is having a good week. And then Andrew, yo, what's up? Hail chat. Let's have a good time tonight. We're gonna get a little nutty here in a little bit. We're gonna talk about some funny stuff. And we're just going to have a good time. But first, let's get back to Jack Irons. Sometimes we have ADHD, Cody, and we just go off topic.
That's fine.
So,
That's
all right.
fine.
So we're going to go back
that
to Jack Irons.
All right. Well, Jack Irons Steel Cowboy has it's been a lot of work. It's been about 16 years to manifest to where we are now, to reach this Volume 1 hardcover collection. The last 3 years or so have been the real glut of learning and actually producing and getting comics out to folks. And that whole level and that whole end has been an absolute blessing for myself and my team. I work with a wonderful Argentinian artist named Maxi Dallo, and it's just been a wild ride getting these three out and ready to folks. And we're ready to try another step to be a little less seat of our pants. And that's what this Kickstarter has been. We've been trying to reach a different audience because we've been on Indiegogo for our crowdfunding efforts. And we're trying to really do something without any delays or chances of really problems, because we've dealt with them and we've gotten over them and we've gotten everything out. But I wanted to do something that's more machine-like and a bit more precise, and to show respect to the lessons we've learned and to utilize them. And that's a big part of what this is about for me as a creator. But the story itself follows an immortal man burdened with memories of previous lives. I wanted to convey the idea of the entirety, the weight of human history, and put it in somebody who cannot escape it. And then put that into the weight of all these things actually physically manifesting some really dark things. In this case, we call them the Four Horsemen. And see what we can do to push back against them. And that's kind of the little bit there. Ironverse Comics is the imprint that I've been building, whose tagline up there, when reality belongs to evil, heroes are inevitable. That's kind of our thesis of what we're doing with all the titles that we're doing. And right now we have a manga out called Cactus Coyote, and we have the Jack Irons books out through a wonderful publisher called Wicked Publishing. And again, this is just an attempt to reach a new audience and present the works in the truest form we could with the most impact. These 3 issues tell the origin of a lot of different things, but of course, primarily Jack Irons. And they're best read together, and I wanted something that would stand the test of time in presentation, that would sit up on a shelf and have you look at it again and again, more than being read once, twice, and then maybe bagged and boarded and then moved on from it.
Cody, can you scroll down? Let's see some of the art on this.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, wonderful artist. This is one of our more common promo images. Kind of sums up what we're doing a lot in the origin, which is it's framed a lot like Forrest Gump. But of course, in the weird space western grimdark universe that we present you with of Ironverse Comics. Quickie pitch: a reincarnated immortal seeks purpose in galactic Armageddon. That's the one line that kind of tells you what you're going to be getting into. Then I pitch Ironverse Comics. You folks can check out ironversecomics.com or Kickstarter here to read kind of what we're doing. I lightly touched on it, but. This is our wonderful work. Now, if you want to see some comic pages, we'll go down a little bit further.
Yeah.
This is one of the. We had a fun journey. We've had a long, fun journey getting this done. I had, again, 16 years for me. With myself and Maxie, it's been 6 years. And with this colorist, it's been about 2.5. This was kind of a piece that really helped manifest our work into physicality. I originally just did this as a webcomic to get these ideas that I had since I was a teenager just out of my head, and see what could be done with them. And so we had and still do have a free black and white read for folks who want to read issue 1. But that and marketing that led to a colorist finding us and pitching a wonderful image, which was this, of course, without the lettering. And that really set the tone for how our work was gonna look from then on, at least in the Jack Irons part of it. And from then, we've moved forward and grown. This was done, again, about 6 years ago, issue 1's line art. And then this is only about 3 years ago. So Maxie grew a lot as an artist and found a more distinct voice and has been continuously communicating that as we've moved forward. And again, it means a lot to me to be able to tell these stories and that people are engaging with them and enjoying them. And I think we have a lot of good things to say and good things to tell and share with folks. And I'm very hopeful more folks will dive in as we continue working on it.
Man, this art looks fantastic. The book looks good. I like the character design. All that stuff is really, really cool. And so you're like what? You're about 50. You're a little over 50% funded for this.
A little under 50%. I believe we're at
a little under 50.
Fluctuating quite a lot today in particular.
So what do you need? What is your goal that you need?
8,500. So we're about half there. You know, another $100, we'll be halfway there.
And you got 9 days to go.
Yeah, it's a nail biter. Anybody who was familiar with our previous campaign, that was also a crazy nail biter last year. Corona hit during our running of that campaign, and it was literally the last day we got 40% of our funding.
Yeah, you know, and I think that's the way it is. That last 7 days, the first 7 days, last 7 days are the biggest. So you know, I'm running the same thing. I've got 7 days left on my campaign, and you know, we're less than $200 away from funding, and I'm like, geez, for crying out loud, let's get there already. You know,
I am learning from watching like some other people, like some like the bigger names, like Sebastian A. Jones of like Stranger Comics and Brian Polito is have tiers that you don't have at the very beginning, and you put them in the middle when like the campaign kind of dips, and have them be limited stuff. That way you have like slight peaks.
Yeah,
and what is typically the slump areas.
Yeah, kind of like you know how like in a store they'll run sales. You can do that. You can add a new perk or things like that. I haven't done that because I'm running.
It's what I've been noticing. Like a lot of the bigger campaigns will do to make sure that it's not just all first 48 hours, last 48 hours. They're getting things.
Yeah. So
in that middle.
Pops says he's got some shows. You're welcome on anytime. Make sure to contact him afterwards. He does have some things that you can get on over there. I just want to say hi to a couple people in the chats. We got Comics Mate coming in. Good day, mate. Dean, the artist for The Embrace, a fantastic book. Looking forward to that showing up in my mailbox here soon. What a fantastic ride they had with their campaign. They made over what was it, 12K, I think, or 14K is what you guys ended up with. Tremendously successful. Very happy to see that. And then he says, "Hail Todd." Yes. So, all right. Let's have a little conversation. Did you know that? So you've heard about the Powerpuff Girls live action show, right?
Yep, on CW.
Unfortunately.
On CW. Did you know the CW rejected the pilot and said they have to go back and reshoot it?
Gee. Right.
Oh, man.
Right?
Really?
So how bad is it that the CW is like, screw this, go back and redo it?
Or it's not bad enough.
Oh, that could be it too.
Ooh.
Because the CW is a festering crap hole right now. So
It really is.
You know what my friend Sean used to call CW? Channel White.
Channel White. That's accurate. That's accurate. Yeah. You guys, hold on a second. I got while we're talking about this, I got a book I want to show you guys. Okay. All right. It's not for good purposes. Hold on.
It's not
If you did not know of Powerpuff Girls, it was originally created as a cartoon on Cartoon Network by the great Gendry Tartakovsky, who's also done Samurai Jack, and several other different things. Came out in like the 90s, right? So apparently, because script leaked on the CW plot, the cartoon is apparently connected to the live action because one of the girls confronts the professor and was like, "You sold our likeness to that Cartoon Network where they whitewashed us."
Oh my gosh.
Oh Lord.
Oh no, they didn't.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh no, you didn't. That's
Where they whitewashed
crazy.
us. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they've got what is it, Buttercup or Blossom? Now, which one is it? There's Bubbles, Buttercup, and Blossom.
Bubbles is the blue, Blossom is the pink, and Buttercup is the green.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, they made they race swapped one of them, which I sometimes I don't care about that. I'm like, whatever.
Buttercup.
I've come to expect it. If you are in the comics
Mm-hmm.
and you are a ginger in the comics, you're gonna be black on TV.
You're screwed in Hollywood. Yeah, you're black. I did a video about that. Ginger's not wanted in Hollywood.
Yeah, I mean, who cares?
Every ginger they've race swapped for a black person.
Yeah. Ferris says, "Hail Dean, what's up?" They do that. They do that all the time. It's I don't know what it is. I don't know what.
That affinity is kind of crazy. They've done that recently with this new Superman show that's also coming out with Jimmy Olsen. That's been a big that went for a while with Jimmy. It is what it is. Like, again, I don't really care about it as long as the character is good, right? Especially when you have all these different interpretations of all these icons again and again. But the quality is always and has consistently been questionable.
So my
questionable.
Yeah, but kind of so like my question of that is like, so I loved the cartoon. And I'm not a big fan of the CW these days. Okay, so I really love the CW when the Supernatural came out. Right, the first 2 seasons of Supernatural were amazing. It was these brothers going around like all these urban legends, and then it just took an odd turn, and it became about angels and demons, and they died a whole bunch of times and then came back. And I'm like, what is this? What is this? DC Comics? I mean, it just got really ridiculous, and and then what was it? Riverdale. First season, we watched that, and I was like, all right, this ain't too bad. This is kind of interesting. It's a little more sexualized than I like my Archie comics, but it is what it is. But my wife and my daughter kept watching it, and like they just stopped watching the last season because like, this is stupid. Like they've gone off. It's like they've run out of ideas, and like they're trying to get canceled or something like that. So,
my friend is the historian for Archie. And he was the one that CW would call to confirm, stuff about the comic to make sure they had the characters right. And he even said that it went in the toilet after this, like second season. I think he said. I never watched it because I watched the very first episode and went, this isn't Archie. What is this crap?
Yeah,
Archie sleeping with his teacher in his car.
Yeah.
I'm like, this isn't Archie.
I mean, the saving grace was his teacher was super hot. So I mean, it's like, okay, all right, I guess I can buy that, But it's like, but it went off the deep end. And, Dean makes a good point. He says race swapping characters is the biggest attack on actual black characters in history. He goes, because the longer it goes on, the longer we don't get characters like Bishop, Static Shock, who is a great underrated character, and Storm, etc. Man, great characters that need screen time and need to be brought to the forefront. Like, that's what we need to see. That it doesn't matter. Like, I love these characters not because they're black, but because they're awesome. It's like, they're just awesome characters. It doesn't. It's not like they're just really good characters, and they need screen time. They need that kind of stuff. And so, I totally agree with you, Dean. That is a problem. But so here's my thought. Seeing how bad the CW has been, how bad is the script that they were like, you've got to redo this, or like you said, Todd, was it a reasonably decent pilot? And they're like, no, let's make it worse.
I would go with that one, knowing the CW.
Okay, so let's also
chunk of the script, and if you're looking at it, and they actually went through and filmed it, it's too much even for those who are really pushing things. It's product placement after product placement.
It's pretty bad,
I'm surprised. Like if what got filmed, I would be pissed if my money went to it, even if you had an idea of what it was going to be beforehand, right? It's a trip.
Yeah, Dean says if the leaked script is real, it is horrible, and
it is because
sent it to me today. It's so bad.
Like I advise not not well, I guess we could kind of show some, but maybe
I don't want to get in
not
trouble,
read
so
it.
we're not
Yeah,
going to
I'm
show
like,
it.
yeah, like
So
not
we
read
won't show it.
verbatim because I know some have gotten.
Just suffice to say, it's bad. Okay, it is really bad. They clearly didn't use an editor.
No,
No,
they took a cartoon.
looks like a 5-year-old wrote that script. It was horrible.
Like, yeah. So the cartoon, right? They were made of sugar, spice, and everything nice.
Mhm.
And like an extra ingredient was added to the concoction, chemical X. They got superpowers.
Yes.
And the cartoon's very lighthearted.
I loved it.
As we stated before, apparently in the leaked script, the cartoon was the professor selling their likeness and whitewashing them. Mojo Jojo
I love Mojo Jojo.
is Mojo no more.
Oh, he's not in there anymore?
No, and the leaked script, apparently he got Zack Snydered.
Oh, ouch. Elliot Rodriguez Art says, "Hello, everyone. Hello, Elliot. It's nice to have you today."
Elliot. Fantastic artist.
We're yeah, he is. We're having a great time hanging out and talking about how bad could it be? Honestly, how bad is it really? In the live action show, Chemical X is feminism.
So
I would expect nothing else from Dean. Thank you so much for that one. That is great.
So the cartoon was very like lighthearted and like the girls are very playful, nice, and a lot of times because they're kids, through tantrums and stuff, right? But it's a very lighthearted show.
Yeah, they were waiting.
Well, they wanted to do live action, kind of go more mature route, kind of like they did with like Riverdale and Archie.
Yeah, and I don't want them to do that. Like,
yeah, but see, they went farther than that though. Like we thought, like the first episode of Archie sleeping with the teacher was like, oh, this is questionable. No, they went like they're floozies, straight up. Like
it's like guys, come on. And I mean, in the cartoon, they were always waiting around the phone, waiting for the action, and it was fun. It was lighthearted. And so speaking of like over sexualizing something like that, okay,
now they're going out and getting some action.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I think
six times.
I think there's a serious over sexualization of things. Mm-hmm. So much so there has to be a nudity coordinator or something like that for the Lord of the Rings live action TV show that they're going to be doing. So we're going to have Hobbiton porn.
That's all they want with it, and they see fantasy as a corporate thing, and they think all of it's the same, that all the messages doesn't matter. We have an IP to latch on and push forward whatever we want to, and it's I was talking about it on Twitter. It's this corporatization of identity that is just destroying art as a mainstream medium, and it is terrifying to watch. The counterculture has been hijacked, and we are totally, as a society, willing to throw money at it still. We've become very complacent. And that's, I'm always #indie. I'm about hearing the individual voice and the hearing it arise above the cacophony, because that's the only way we figure anything out in this world. If we are stuck with specific boxes that we are given and told that's all we got and can get, then we're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
And I just see this again and again. This Powerpuff Girls was the first couple lines of this leaked script. You get Facebook, you get LinkedIn, you get product after product, which are defining these girls' identities. When they were just little kindergartners who were an introduction for a lot of ladies into action, and that they could be strong and that they could have fun and still be feminine and be little girls coloring with their teacher and stuff. I mean, it was a great expression, introduction for young ladies into the superhero as an idea, as a concept, and as something that can be fun for everybody. And they took that and they turned it into a product, talking about products, and then just again tried to shove it full of sex and violence, and thinking that that's all that humanity and that the society they're pitching to wants.
It's an over-sexualized commercial.
It's the same thing. They just want another Game of Thrones. And
Yeah.
and we saw how that was handled at the end of it. It's really sad that they have so little faith in creators, that as long as these things are again designed within these boxes that they find acceptable and riskless, that they'll do it. And they designed it so much into this box that the people got it back and like, is this the box? let's go ahead and redo. We're going to keep everybody, but we're going to rewrite this because this box will not sell. And it's a trip and a half.
It's so bad. Yeah.
So again, that's why I make my own things. That's why you find in comics. I've always found that most folks who are comic fans have ideas for comics. They have a voice they want to put forward.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm so happy to participate in the medium.
Yeah, I think the idea is to contribute something to independent comics and to contribute something to society through our art. And what Elliot says here, he goes, things are only going to get worse. These big corporations have all the money in the world to pervert the world as much as possible, and they're fully committed to perverting everything. And I totally agree with that. And I think that most people know that that I'm a man of the cloth. I'm a pastor. That's what I do. That's my full-time gig. I hate calling it a gig because it's a vocation, it's a calling, but that's who I am. That's what I'm known for. But I find that it's not just believers that feel that way. Like, I think most people with a rational brain can wow, we've overdone it, guys. Everything is so perverted right now. Like, we've got to, and how do we come back? Let me paste this. Hi, guys. Hi, William. Thanks for joining us tonight. So we're talking about right now, it's kind of the over-sexualization of things that never were intended to be that way, like a kid's cartoon. And I'm telling you what, if J.R.R. Tolkien could hear that they need a nudity coordinator for the Lord of the Rings, I'm sure he would be turning over in his grave right now. I mean, seriously, let's think about that. What is it? The last thing I want to see is a hobbit nude.
I mean, there's a market for that.
You don't want to be like, man, that little dude is packing a third leg.
You had to go there. or dwarf porn. I don't need to see Gimli reproducing. I don't need to see that. But I think you said it right, Cody. They're going to go after the elves. It's like that's what they want. Mm-hmm. They want.
Yeah.
It's
the one that they're using is going to be mostly about the elves.
Yeah. But so it's like already I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan, but my wife is a bigger Lord of the Rings fan, and she's like, oh my gosh, they're gonna, what's the name of that show? Bridgerton. She goes, they're gonna Bridgerton it up. It's like they're gonna mess it up. And Bridgerton is this show that is so sexualized. And yes, we're talking about naked Gandalf, those old crusty cheeks. Can you see that? Just walking across. I'm going to say no, thank you. Which is why it's so much all the more important for us to be able to create good content. I believe there's a place for that in storytelling, and then there's a place not for it, right? Everyone can have a voice. Now, thanks, Pops, for that. I'm just going to let everyone read that one there and let that sink in for a second.
There's market for that too.
Yeah.
I mean, all right, so we did see that in the Peter Jackson, like, you look at it, think of it, what was it, the first or beginning of the second movie? You see the orcs coming out of the ground. Like, they're just kind of all being, like, birthed. Like many of them at a time. That's the orcages.
What a story, Mark.
And the problem is, the problem is they haven't really accomplished anything. They haven't. These people that are doing this stuff to these shows, they haven't made anything on their own, really. They haven't birthed anything and created something that matters to them. And it's kind of like. Yeah, it's kind of like
take everything I've accomplished in my entire life and condense it down into one day. It looks decent.
That's a good line.
Just one and I heard crusty cheeks. LOL. Yes, we are talking about how there is a nudity coordinator for the Lord of the Rings live action that they're doing, the series, not the movie, the series that they're doing. And so naked Gandalf was brought up, and so old crusty cheeks is in there. So that's Comics Mate is laughing at Elliot for some reason, and then Hale Dean, yes, and then because Elliot's laughing. He's got Yeah. Okay, we got a few. William Pace. Let's give them. So there we go. Now,
well, even that you hear about those two series, and then you hear about the franchise that was just announced is going to be destroyed next is Predator. They're going to destroy that one next. So
what are they going to do there? I mean, seriously, it's just an alien that's going around killing people. Like, why do we need a series of that?
Right. Well, it's not going to be a series. I guess it's going to. Well, I don't know if it's going to be a series or not. They're saying it's movie or series. They haven't said yet. But the synopsis for it is a Comanche woman who goes against the gender norms. There it is.
Oh, I saw
and traditions of her tribe to become a warrior. If you tell me some 190-pound woman, 100-pound woman is going to take out a predator, I will call BS on that.
All day long, because Arnold Schwarzenegger could barely do it.
Well, his whole special forces team couldn't do it. Take out one. I'm like, come on.
Yeah, it's like, it's so
always
frustrating.
Tell the artistry involved with what foot forward they put into their promotion. It's very hard to find a unique promotion that leans on the power of the story these days and not the superficialities involved in the story. And it's really tough. Like, again, I wouldn't be against that. We've been rebooting the Predator so long that the series doesn't really matter anymore. We've had at least 3 since Predator 2, which was already kind of pushing it. It's I wouldn't against that, but then they go ahead and use that, they tokenize it, and they push that in many native cultures, the woman's the soul and the caretaker of the tribe. There's no warrior without the woman, and that's a hell of a thing for me to hear. I didn't hear that part. I just heard them the footing that I heard them put forward in the promotion for that is we are gender swapping Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's what I had heard.
Yeah.
Now, it might not be their official press release, but that is what I've been hearing. And that's how many people is that alone going to appeal to? People want inspiration, they want escapism. Some want representation, and you can't ignore that as a thing. But that representation is so much minimalized when it is secondhand. That's
right. I have zero problem with strong, powerful women in media. Like, I love them, actually. Some of my favorite characters, Wonder Woman, Gina Carano. She is a role model for my daughter and for all young women. And, I love these strong, powerful characters. Storm, who actually led the X-Men in the 80s when, like, some of the first X-Men books that I picked up before I really got into Chris Claremont's X-Men. Storm was leading the group. I mean, these are strong, powerful women. And
girls at a basic level.
Yeah. The Powerpuff Girls were strong. Yeah, they were little girls that were kicking butt. And every boy I knew watched the show and loved it.
I mean, I watched it as a kid. I was like, I'm a 90s kid. So, like, I was around kid, like 6, 8-ish, when it came out. I loved it. I thought it was dope. Now I'm like, it's sad that, Buttercup is a lesbian who has sex 6 times a day, and there's a joke of Bubbles going, Bubbles is back, the documentary, and a quip of not to be mistaken with Bubbles on her back, the movie.
Oh my gosh.
And again, these were little children icons. The entire idea of latching on this property, which was not very popular currently. It was not. I mean, it had been put in the back. It was remembered as nostalgia, of course, but it's not this living, breathing property that then we're going to subvert. It was this going back in history and then taking that idea, that icon, and then let's twist the hell out of it, because that works every time. It's a safe, fearful, cowardly bet. It's just
I wonder.
Palpable. It's crazy, and I know that there's more out there that's being suppressed, and I'm going to look forward to the day that it rises.
So let's talk about comics, okay? Obviously, TV's letting us down, but that happens. Real quick, let's go here. We've got a couple things. I have more art of Elektra on my wall than anyone else. And I think we know why, Pops. We understand that entirely. Elliot says, the Powerpuff Girls were great. I didn't see every episode. but it was a great show, and I loved Mojo Jojo. Yes, Mojo Jojo. I loved. I did see every episode multiple times. I loved that show like nobody's business. And Jennifer Lauder says, I guess it's trending to not just break down the family unit, but to destroy the individual. So then we can be manipulated by the devil. And I agree with that. But we're definitely being manipulated. Whether you believe that it is a supernatural being, or whether you think it's just the degradation and of mankind, or just our general depravity. Yes, we're definitely being manipulated to think, okay, it's okay to take these little girl icons, turn them into teenage girls, and make these teenage girls over sexualized. I have an 18-year-old daughter, and the last thing I want her to think is that I think
they're supposed to be like young 20s, like 18 to 20.
Yeah, I don't want my daughter
to
think that's normal behavior, because it's not normal behavior. It wasn't normal behavior for us. Like if we knew a guy or a girl that was doing that when I was growing up as a teenager, they weren't looked at as like, hey, you're so awesome because you are sleeping with a bunch of people. I feel like we've lost a lot of morality. And when we start talking about nudity coordinators for the nude scenes in Lord of the Rings, we've missed the point, because that's not what Lord of the Rings was ever about. Tolkien was a believer, and his story was allegorical towards faith. And you're going to take that and you're going to make it Game of Thrones. You're going to make it Bridgerton. You're just screwing it up. You're just flat out screwing it up. And it does make me mad. It makes me a little mad to see those things. But let's get back to comics, okay? Because we love comics. Comics are our friends, and we love indie comics. Now, I shared a stack of indie comics that I have to get through. And that is about 1/4 of the size of mainstream comics that I have, because I do still buy mainstream comics. Unfortunately, I'm not always happy with the storylines that I see in there. And I actually had a talk with my friend Travis today, who he and I have a book that just launched on Kickstarter yesterday. And so I encourage you to go by there and check that out. I'll share that link and pop it into the comments later. But you know what? I'm going to do something that maybe I haven't done before. I'm going to pop in our StreamYard link. So if anybody wants to pop in the StreamYard and just have this little conversation with us, they can, because I think this is a fun conversation to have. Let's hear some other people's thoughts on that and see what happens. But while we're waiting for people to just pop in randomly, I want to talk about independent comic books. I love reading independent comic books. I've got several of them on my desk. Last week, I read a comic book that was 3 shades of crap. Okay. It was so bad. It was so bad. And this week I read another one, and it was also not my favorite that I've ever done. Danny Morales says, I talked to Travis today about Voodoo Nations #2. That's awesome. I do. Voodoo Nations #2. It's some of my best art, I think. I'm pretty happy with it. It's already got over 100 backers, less than a day into it. And, we're really close to meeting our goal. So I'm pretty excited about it. We'll talk about that later, because we're here to talk about Cody's book but any independent comics in general. I got this book called Magna, The Last Pantheon, Volume 1. And I've started reading it. And I want to tell you that this book looks good. Okay. So far, I like the art. I like the production. It's well packaged for a trade paperback that's not a hardcover. This is pretty darn good. This is what I like. A nice solid cover on it. Nice pages. It looks good. Let me talk about another book. And I hate to throw people under the bus, but this is the second bad comic I've read in 2 weeks. It lacks one thing that I think will definitely help is an editor. Okay. So let's just start with the pages that people would see on the screen before they get started with anything. One thing, so there's this wall of text as soon as you open up the book. Zero design element to this thing at all. Right.
Oh.
It's so hard on the eyes to read something like that. An editor or designer would have caught that. And here's the problem that we have with this. I believe this is their first book. Maybe it's not. Maybe they've done this before. But it's written and lettered by one guy, and it's his art and colors by the other guy. It's a black and white book, so I don't understand why they're calling it colors. It's gray tones, right? Yeah, black and white book. Yeah, black and white book. Yeah. So colors. But again, they've got this big title page. And so this book is called Otis Stein. So I don't know. I don't know the person who wrote this book. I'm not friends with them. I think I maybe seen him on. It's something about Skinny Comics. I think is what it's called. Skinny's Comics. I don't know anything about this person. Maybe you guys do. Maybe you can fill me in on who they are, or if they have a reputation for comics. I don't know.
He's a relatively grassroots creator like us. That's one thing you'll find in indie comics is there's a wide spectrum of production value, and I can really appreciate that when there's somebody who knows how to use it. Now, that's going to be both subjective and non-subjective on how they do it. And in fact, I did a what I call an Ironverse quickie on my YouTube, Ironverse Comics, about Otis Stein. So folks want to check that out on my thoughts, I'd appreciate it. But
so were your thoughts positive, negative? What were they? What's that?
Excuse me?
What was your thoughts on that?
Oh, it just there were certainly some inconsistencies. I appreciated the unique artwork in it. I really did. I like that about indie is when you get those unique expressions, right? But,
so I will say this: the art is very stylized, and I'm okay with stylized art. There were some pacing issues, right? And so I normally when I find that. When I find that there's pacing issues, right away I say editor. If you had an editor, it would have been better. Then I also saw in here that there were some odd lettering choices. Again, a letterer would have been like, hey, not a letterer, but an editor would have been like, hey, that's not going to work. There were panels that were too full of art for the lettering that needed to be done, and then there's like other panels that have plenty of room for lettering, but there's no dialogue or text in those whatsoever. And so those were some of the issues. It was kind of hard to follow where the book was going at times, and so all of those issues, that things you could just see on a screen that an editor from anywhere in the world could have found and could have fixed, right? It made it very difficult. There were things in the story that for me didn't make sense. I kind of felt like maybe they had the right idea, like they had a good nugget of an idea, and just bouncing it off of another writer, and saying, hey, this is what I'm thinking. What do you think? And seeing about not trying to miss some of those opportunities, because I want indie books to succeed. I truly do. But the other aspect of this book that I've got to say is it's not just what you put on the pages sometimes, but it's how you print the pages. And this book is slightly larger than some of my other more traditional books for some reason. I don't know what it is. The cut is it's just a little bit, it's like an eighth of an inch bigger, which makes it kind of complicated to fit into the bag. But the cover, I don't know where they printed it, but it feels like rubber. It feels like a rubber ink. So I don't know, Cody, if you saw it, if you had a physical copy, if you did a digital.
I do know the printer they used, and there's usually a choice between matte and gloss, and then of course your cover thickness, of course, right? 80 pounds, 70 pounds.
Do you know who they used?
Yes, it was Mixam, if I'm right. Mixam.
Okay.
13. They do good work. They do. I've done a lot.
Mixam does, and maybe this is just a choice, but I didn't like the coating the way it felt. It didn't feel like a comic book to me. And then the interior stock felt. Yeah. Right from my copy. Yeah, and the interior felt weird.
That do that, and they also have a thicker stock. When I go for floppies, I like them to be floppy. It's also a little cheaper. It allows the books to lie open, all of that. That's a personal thing. Now, some people like it to. That choice would make it more durable, right? So if you're going to read it a lot, maybe it'll last longer and such. But it really is personal. But at the end of the day, again, I like a floppy to have that looseness to it. And then, like you're saying, just production quality, right? That's an important part of the engagement with the reader. I'm unsure, how many people would like that more durable feel. But from an indie creator who's like really proud of their work, I can see how that choice would manifest. I can.
Yeah. So I checked it. I didn't. The thing is, so I'm reading all these indie books, and these are crowdfunded books that come to me. So I paid a little kind of a premium cost for some of these, and you wait a while for them to show up. And I'm like, this could have been so much better if only it had an editor. It would have moved that up into another level that it just completely missed.
I think that's a very common thing with crowdfunded books. Anybody who's taking it into their own hands, right? They feel this desire to make sure that their expression is pure, is what they want to say. And yes, absolutely, that can get it muddled. I've done that. If you look through my works, I can be a little too
Well,
wordy.
see, well, I think the problem is ego. Okay, let me start there. I'm just gonna be unabashed in saying this. The problem is ego. If you can't take criticism, the problem is you. You should be able to take criticism. It's the equivalency of trading your paper in school with your neighbor so that you can grade it. You know what you want to say, but you may not, like you said, you may not be conveying that thought well. You need somebody else to tell you. So we've got an editor working on the edits for our role-playing game, the RPG for hybrids, that does not play role-playing games. So they have no frame of reference. They have to, so if they have a question about the flow and understanding the rule of the game when they're going through, then we need to fix that, because this is supposed to be available and accessible to anyone and everyone. So she will ask, did you mean to say this? Is this what this means? And ask the question to the writer of that particular manual. And Nick will be like, yes, that's what I meant, or no, that's not what I meant. And he'll fix it. And so that's what we need to do in these comics. If you really want to make a comic book, that's more than just a vanity project, and you want to convey whatever it is you're trying to convey, you need to have an editor look over it. If you can't afford an editor, grab one of these guys that's writing a book that you feel is good at what they do, and have them look over it and say, hey, what do you think? But somebody has to have permission to give you criticism, or else you're just going to produce an ugly baby that nobody wants. And I'm saying that because this is 2 weeks in a row where I've picked up a book and I'm like, it felt like homework to get through it. I wanted to like it.
Can get you through that, but yeah, it's a tough one. The editor's eye is an important factor. There's a reason it is super involved in any aspect of writing. You need to be able to look away from your work. I've looked over typos on page 1 all the way through 2 printings, right? That's just, you know what's supposed to be on there, so your brain's like, yep, that's on there, and it's not. And that's just a simple, typo level, not even trying to, as you said,
very simple stuff. And like I said, I think that this, there are some elements of this thing that I like very much. So I'm like, oh, that's good. I like some of the stylized art. I like the basic idea and concept of the story. I like kind of the humanity that they're trying to convey in it. There are some things that are pretty good about it. But man, when you just try to go it alone and maybe he was just trying to cut corners, to save money on cost. I don't know what was the thinking behind not having somebody take a look at it. Maybe you think you can edit yourself. So here's the deal. If I draw an outline, like if I do my layouts, I have somebody else look. I have my editor look over the layouts to make sure that they follow the script well, and that I've got proper pacing, and that I have the page turners where they need to be. If I'm not doing the layouts, but I'm the artist, but somebody else is doing my layouts for me, then I do that check myself, because it's a second set of eyes. But I never edit anything that I do. If I do it, somebody else has to take a look at it, because I'm going to miss those little mistakes. Like you said, you just know it's supposed to be on the page, so it's there. But maybe it's not. And in that case, I just felt like, and I'm not trying to make enemies with anybody, and so I had thought maybe I shouldn't say anything at all about the book that's not any good. So any book that I read that wasn't any good, I wasn't going to say anything about it. But the thing is, it wasn't that it wasn't any good. It was that there was a lot of missed opportunity, that it could have been really good. But it missed the mark.
You put all this effort, you put all this heart into it, and you can feel it in almost every indie. Nobody goes through this gauntlet of crowdfunding and stuff without heart and intention and a great desire. It's too hard.
Yeah.
Just nobody survives that trial by fire and gets something out without that heart to it. And so, I mean, that's why I do many reviews on my channel of indie books, just for that reason, is to give them that harsh eye so they can be better. We all want to be and put forward the best we can. Otherwise, again, you wouldn't have the will to get through these trials. And Otis Stein in particular, like you said, there's a lot of missed opportunity. By the end of it, I liked how it kind of had started the journey, right? Whatever Otis Stein 2 was going to get to, but how it got there, as you said, it was a chore. It could be difficult. There was a particular moment with a snake that I didn't know if he was bit, if there was a very confusing from panel to the next page.
Some of the action was hard to follow. And I mean, just the artist going to another guy that does, because I've had people, hey Luke, do you mind looking over my script for me? And I'll do it, and I'll give them notes. a Psychic Bunny on Twitter. Like, he did that. He contacted me. He goes, "Hey, I like the way you write. I like what you're doing. What do you think of my script?" And I was honest with him. I said, it would be a lot better if you flipped this and did it differently here. And that, so Elliot says, how much do you think you could benefit from beta readers? Dude, so much.
So much.
A lot.
And I've had to go through the gauntlet from issue 1 to issue 2, where issue 1 was pretty much unfiltered with issue 2, then getting that second round of unfiltered, so I could go through issue 2 to issue 3 with the right gravity and understanding of how important it is. You really do need those fresh set of eyes. You really get so comfortable and involved with a project, or maybe even so uncomfortable, so involved with the project, that you forget what your actual main goal is, which is to communicate.
Don't just give it to anybody. Like, that's the other thing. Like, because there's some people that they want you to not be successful. Okay, and they're gonna hit little notes, and they're gonna give you undue criticism. Go to people that you trust. Okay, and when they give you the criticism, accept it. Understand that they have your best interest in mind. I was talking with a guy the other day, and he was kind of complaining about how, like, I just feel like I don't fit it. Like, I don't have any allies on any side of my life. I feel like everyone's against me, and I try to explain to him, it's like, look, you exhibit some patterns of self-destructive behavior. That's what pastors do. We help shepherd people, right? So, like, you exhibit some patterns of self-destructive behavior, and that's what's causing those conflicts in your life and making you unhappy. It's because you're so combative and dogmatic about things that really don't matter. You've dug your heels in some areas, and you choose to dig your heels in and play, and then that conversation got cut off and I got blocked, trying to help somebody because you try to get, and I'm like, and they're like, oh yeah, really? Well, best of luck, and I'm like, again, you just proved my point that you have a pattern of self-destructive behavior. An ally is trying to help you get better, and then you block them. So when you do this, if you have these readers, if you have an editor, you have to sit there and take, well, let me take it. And if it's the same criticism from all like 5 or 6 people that you have reading your
self-love,
then that it's you. At the end of the day, it is you that you got to fix that, right? But yeah, I'm with Elliot. If you can't afford an editor, beta readers would definitely help out. But guys in the indie market, you've got to do better. Plain and simple. We've got to work harder at polishing our product before we put it out. Quality standards are there. And maybe it's your first book and you maybe don't know how to do those things, but there's so many people that are here and available to help you. And Jennifer has it right. It's called humility. Sometimes we need to be humbled because we're not Stan Lee and we're not Jack Kirby. And Stan Lee and Jack Kirby didn't get there without somebody telling them, hey, you need to, they had editors. They had editors. And to get where they are, they had people that were able to give them criticism so that they could get better at the end of the day. That's what they did. So that's my rant.
Yeah.
Darn it, I'm sick of buying crap books.
have a hard time accepting we're all works in progress and what that means,
Mm-hmm.
And that means our works are going to be works in progress. And I do value works like Otis Stein because one, it was that trial by fire. It was successfully done, right? But also because then you have these examples of, even though this is weak or has some inconsistencies, some very weaknesses, if there is an issue too, right, you can show that you've improved. You can show that you've taken that. And I think those opportunities, and knowing that those opportunities exist, can get more people to take those trials by fire, to stick their hat in the ring and get their voice out there. And yeah, maybe the first couple times you get it out there, it's not exactly what you would have wanted or the best thing ever, but that it happened and that you stayed with it. That's the biggest thing with our work at Ironverse Comics. We dug our heels in I hope the right places. Kept pushing.
Yeah, there's certain things that you should dig your heels in about, but that is what it is. So let's go back to your campaign, And we're going to look through this for a second. We are 117 backers, 9 days. You're at $4,166. And so you're doing quite well, but already, but you got a lot of ground to make up in 9 days. So guys,
You
we
know
need
what,
you to.
Cody, can I ask a question? And I hope it
Sure.
doesn't seem like too blunt.
No, I'm an open.
Yeah, because I know you did, like, you've already funded 1 through 3, right? Like, you have like 3 issues in, and this is like the collected.
Yes.
8,500. Why that amount? When the art is already
to start off with, and that is without shipping. So I may even eat crow a little bit again. We made 14K last campaign, and I'm still eating about 4K of crow to ship out all these books to people. The reason why is so that I do not make the same budgeting mistakes. The production of a Jack Irons comic is about 10K. We pay our artists above independent standard to maintain them. We
what,
make
though?
sure
It shows, man. It shows.
paper. And I don't make anything myself. This is a labor of love. Again, I've had to put money into it every campaign. My publisher put money into it our first campaign when I was just trying to fund digital, right, which has much less overhead. You just have to pay for production, art production, and that's why.
Can we go over the tiers on this real quick? Because I know you've gone over the campaign, and it's a great comic.
So I'd love to talk about the tiers and why we did these limited tiers, because you did mention adding extra tiers mid-campaign. And I'd like to talk about why we have not and will not this campaign due to last campaign. Absolutely love to, because there's so much to learn, again, through these trials. And there's a lot I would love to share and help others kind of avoid the same mistakes. So, but I'm in control. I am so sorry. Of course, we have our throw us $5 if you want to help. We have our $10 for a collected digital with a unique cover that's going to be exclusive to this campaign. I'm really hoping we have this cover within this week. So I have a couple days at least to push it, because it's a wonderful set of talents we work with, and it's going to be a very cool cover. It's going to be manifested. I'm paying for, so it's going to show up as something, however this goes. But that's part of it, so that even from your digital file, I supported this. This is my unique part of this. This is my part of adding and helping grow the best of the Weird Space West. That was the $10. We'll also include music tracks from Laguna Muta, who you'll hear some of his tracks through my own YouTube work, and maybe you've seen the interviews. There's a lot of work we've done together. Wonderful talent, indie rock. Again, I try and support independent voices so that we know that they're out there and people take pride and continue putting their voices out there. Then we did this hardcover, the collector hardcover. Very simple, no extras. Just here's the hardcover at a little bit above price, so that we can make enough profit to actually print the things. 96 pages. I would like to have grown that. There was always options to grow it, but at this point, unless we hit some kind of crazy random crowdfunding chaos, it's unlikely we'll hit stretch goals to manifest any of that extra content. So expect it about 96 pages. It's a little bit thicker than anybody who has backed Iconic Comics products, but we're working with the same printer and using the same kind of idea
using API, who also does Soul Finder and Common America, right?
Yep, and that's Iconic Comics. That's their imprint.
Yep.
They've done a lot of work for other folks as well.
Yep. But I'm only mentioning those two just because of the whole hardcover aspect. Because, man, their hardcovers are nice.
That's what we're doing. I wanted something that would last.
Tales perfection.
My what I've stuck into them and the art. What we've put into them is very dense. It's something I want you to pick up a couple times and think about. We're not doing, and a lot of people jump into it based on the character design. It has action elements, but it's not a straightforward action book. It's a thought piece on the state of humanity, but how we could progress forward. Maybe not how we could progress forward, but someone who's forced to progress forward. And so that's, you know, and we all are, but so that's part of it. And then of course we have a comic shop bulk tier, which we've almost sold out of. I've been very blessed. The last campaign we also sold to about 10 comic shops at a budget price for resale, because that's a hard one to make into for an indie comic, unless you've gotten attached to a publisher with that footing already. And so why I made these tiers so simple, and there's only a couple of them, right, is because last campaign we offered 4-inch figures, we offered metal cards, we offered metal prints, we offered pin-ups, 6 pin-ups, we offered a few other things. Now, and that really, again, it was a sucker punch to the budget by the end of it. I definitely did not fall through my numbers as well as I should have and could have. And we learned that lesson. And that's, again, what this was to prove and see if that would work on a different platform. Now, that lesson, whether or not it's rewarded through this campaign, will not be forgotten. Comics is super important to me. It's really important to my team. Again, we've been at this, myself 16 years, Maxie and I 6 years. We're dedicated to this project, this character, the messages that are being put forward, and we've been blessed to be able to keep doing it, right? To even get issue 3 out, especially that last day, out of nowhere, I saw a beautiful rallying cry that I haven't seen I don't see in indie comics very often. And so we're talking about humility and humbling. I try my best to always remind our supporters and folks that, you know, the only reason we're able to do this, I'm not a well-off person, is because of your help, your assistance, your faith, and your belief in what we're doing and what we're trying to share with you. And some weird things have happened, right? Even last campaign, we had a problem with API and the prints that we got, the first 1,500 prints that we got, 500 each issue. They had creases and some relatively nasty, forgot, there's a specific term where the blacks get a little bit thicker and the lettering gets a little bit fuzzy. That happened. And so it was a mess. That put us back about a month, 2 months while I negotiated and figured this out. Anyway, we eventually ended up with that extra 1,500 plus a new 1,500 that's clean, pristine, you know, really nice, and is what's going out to backers. So the other thing that's on this campaign that's not directly evident through the tiers is the add-on for 3, the floppies, the reader copies. They're readable, right? They're legible, but they're not the purest and best expression of this. So we've got a lot of extra books and a lot of this work to get out there. And it's been a trip navigating these waters and these unique trials and this story and this effort and indie comics, right? It's a wonderful set of lessons that I am just so proud to take part in, and I hope folks want to continue helping us take part. We've got literally near infinite stories to tell. Most folks who read our work and see the world building and what we're laying down are one of the things that stuck with me the most is I'm never going to be able to tell all the stories that are in this world. And that's part of the point. It's why I'm building this imprint and why I want this to grow and have a solid machinery, because it's not just for myself. It's not a vanity project. It's very much rewarding in that aspect, but it's not the point. It's not what we're working towards. And I'm really hopeful. If no matter what, I think our next project is issue 4, and I have great faith that no matter what will manifest in one form or another. But this was to prove the business and the machinery and to see what we can do somewhere else. To big thing of mine is using every tool we're given as best we can.
Yeah, I love the art in it. I think it looks great. We're definitely wishing you the best on that. If you're listening right now, go over there and support it. Even especially on Kickstarter. Even $1 helps, because what that does on Kickstarter, it bumps it up into the algorithms, and it shows that there's movement on it. So go over and back $1, but back that digital tier, get a physical book. This is definitely worth it. A lot of people.
If you folks are if you folks are curious too, and you want to try it before you buy it, because I'm just talking a bunch of nonsense, I tend to jaw on. The link right at the top leads you to the first issue for free in full color, 24 pages on globalcomics.com.
Putting his money where his mouth is. So definitely check it out.
What's coming? Yeah, if you folks want to know what's in, go ahead. We are laid bare. We're built by you, and we want you to know that we appreciate it.
Awesome. A couple other things that we're going to encourage you to do is Justin's got a book still in demand, correct?
No, I had to mute myself because deer ran across the yard, and
We don't need your excuses.
Yes, you do, because I'm not just gonna randomly mute myself. I love my voice too much.
What a story, Mark.
I think that's his new favorite one.
It is. They're probably my favorite one.
See, your actions have consequences. When you oppress people, they rise up in a fiery anger.
That's my favorite one. It's just not as usable as What a Story.
Yeah.
I have a few more that I'm going to unleash next week on everybody, so we'll have some fun with that. So Justin Dutton.
You know what?
His.
I actually have. It's actually more important. Indiegogo. Look up Young Rebels. It's a title by
Just
Marcel.
pop the link in the comments.
Yeah, I know, but then I have to
do your homework.
look up the thing.
Do your homework, Dragon.
No, because
while you're looking that up, I will tell you, you need to go over to, and I popped in the comments already. Voodoo Nation's #2. You can get issues 1 and 2. It's over on Kickstarter right now. The link is in the comments, and we are. Let me see. We are. We've got 19 days to go. We have 103 backers after the first day. We're sitting at we need $3,000 to goal. We're sitting at $2,292. So we're getting very, very close with that. We just got a Projects We Love today. So that's really awesome. So please go by and check that out. We need your support on there because Luke needs to get paid. And so does Travis and Alan and Jerome. We all need to get paid on this project. So we all need to get paid. So go check that out. And then also we've got 7 days left on My Indiegogo Hybrids, The Killing Field Part 1 and 2. Really cool thing. I'll just pop this up real fast. We do have the prototypes for the action figure. Isn't that awesome? And so we have 12 of those left available. You can get those in the completest package, or you can get those as an add-on. But please go by and check that out. We are less than $200 away from funding that. 7 days left to go. I believe we're $160 away from funding that campaign. So please go by and check that out. We definitely need your support. Tomorrow I will be on with Don Chen and a few other people. I'll be doing I'll be at Pop XP tomorrow night, and then I'll also be on How to Draw Comics with Clayton Barton tomorrow. So you'll get a chance to see me a few times there. But definitely check that out. And Dutton, you just posted that in the comments, right?
Yes.
All right, talk about this book that means so much.
All right. Hold up. Young Rebels is a young superhero team book. Marcel is the creator. But the more important thing, right, is there is every issue will have a 8-page backup chapter written by yours truly.
What? Someone hired you. Yay,
Yes.
congratulations.
Right? And that's why I'm advertising this book, because, I really want the backup story to be taken off, because it's in total will be a 40-page origin story, but it's going to be broken up into 8-page chapters, 8 pages for each issue. And it will be a new character that's not part of the Young Rebels team, but will be in a possible second arc if it does well, and could have his own spinoff. If people are like, man, Young Rebels is really good, but you know what I really also like? That backup story for Yoshiro.
So yeah, definitely go over there, check that out. Help Dutton keep working. He needs to eat too. So yeah, go back, Jack Irons, go back, Voodoo Nations, go back, Hybrids, go back, Young Rebels, and just spend all of your money on comic books. All these comic books are good because I know they use editors. Okay. If you want to see who the rising stars in the independent comics independent comics are, just see who uses editors, and I guarantee that those people are going to be towards the top of the list there. So Elliot says, congratulations to Dutton for your success on that. We had Marcel on last week, and so they're doing some great things over there at Evolution Publishing or whatever. French. Yep. Oh, the French. So we're having a good time. All right. We are 12 minutes and 44 seconds past our normal closing time, which is starting to tend to lean that way a little bit. So we need to fix that.
That's okay.
But so we're going to go around. I want to start with Cody. Cody, would you please let us know where they can find you and any last parting thoughts?
IronVerseComics.com has all of our links up there at the top. But specifically YouTube, Ironverse Comics, at Cowboy_Steel on Twitter. We got all the social media. I'm sure you can find us. We're on Patreon. You want to check our previous works, check out Indiegogo, Jack Iron Steel Cowboy. I just thank you guys so much for having me on, for sharing the Weird Space West. And thank your audience so much for bearing with my John, especially since it added a bit of time.
No problem. All right. Dutton. Pay attention, man. Come on.
Look at that art. Look at it.
That's some good stuff.
It is. Dil Deep is an amazing artist on Hoyoshiro. You can find me here on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern to 9-ish because we're running late. I blame Todd because he won't ever shut up. You can find me on Facebook at Justin Dutton. You can also find me on Twitter at Justin Dutton18, and I randomly pop up every now and then on other people's streams. Now back to you, Todd.
I can't help it. I just talk so much. I can't help it. You can find me on my YouTube channel, Todd's Truth, or on Instagram, Todd's Truth, or on Twitter under Truth Todd, where I do a lot of stuff on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Yeah. My name is Luke Stone. You can find me at lukestonstudios.com. All of the pertinent links that you need are going to be right over there. So please go by, join the mailing list so you can keep updated with all of the good comic goodness. Not only do we have Hybrids, the Sons of Gods, and Voodoo Nations, but I'm working on a couple of other things with some very talented people. Very excited about those things. And we do have updates that will be coming here soon about Hybrids and Arrow Comics 4.0. So we have some really cool things happening there. So make sure to go over to lukestonstudios.com and check that. And don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button and get in the bell so you can get notified when new videos come out. This was episode 10. This is issue 10 if we're counting like a comic book.
Crazy.
10 weeks we've been doing this.
Wow.
Bananas, man. Bananas.
Boy, how time flies when you're having fun. And so, last couple comments before we head out for the evening. It says, Comics Mate, Dean says it's true. Editors are priceless, and they really are. Extra cost.
They typically give me a rate.
And then Elliot says, congrats, Cody, on all the success. Jack Irons is a top-notch comic. I highly recommend it to everybody. And I agree. I'm going to back that right now because I want to get this next bit. I saw the character. We were talking about really cool designed indie characters the other night. And yours was kind of on the top of our list. You know, it was between that one and a couple other ones. Clay was I think the top because that's a really cool design. Yeah, Clayman was really cool. But yeah, so that's what we got going. And Elliot says, great show, guys. Thank you so much for sticking with us and watching. We do appreciate your you carving out a little time for us on Tuesday nights. Once you leave here, you can go over to the Rising Tide Network and watch the back half of Clever Title Pending with Brian K. Morris. I definitely encourage you to go check out his show. And if you like things a little more adult TV, a little more mature audience, then why don't you head on over to the Indie Volt Network and check out their Live Wire episode tonight. They're live. They go live every Tuesday at 9 p.m. So they're from 9 to 11. And Clever Title Pending starts at 8. They're from 8 to 10. And we're just an 8 to 9 guy. So go check out those networks. Check out those shows. We get nothing for sending you over there, but you get all of the entertainment for going. So that's important. All right, you guys, you have a good one. We're going to exit out with our fun little video. We're going to get mileage on this thing.